And good morning, everybody. It is Wonderful Wednesday featuring Dale Turnbull as we discuss the 7 positions of leadership. Well, actually, Dale, you're going to tell us about it. So take it away. Explain what this is, please.
Okay, the 7 positions of leadership. So they all talk about, or we always hear about, you want to be a leader. Are you being a leader? Are you taking steps forward? And I think in my mind, everyone can be a leader. Everyone can be in a position where they're actively taking steps and they're in a powerful position. But not everybody can lead the way. I mean, you're leading the way with the Bunny Talk process, Claudia. You created that. You are trailblazing the way with the Bunny Talk process, which is truly amazing. But not everybody is designed to be that kind of leader, or not everybody starts off as that kind of leader. And the 7 positions of leadership is a really simple, straightforward, but pragmatic way of assessing how do you show up in your business? How do you show up in your company or as an entrepreneur? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And saying, okay, how do you need to potentially adapt or learn to actually enhance your success? So it's essentially a framework to do just that.
Excellent. So where do you begin with that?
So I learned this work through the metaphors of movement work that a lot of you probably know me about. And I've spent 12 years within the corporate sphere, and actually how I got into change work through NLP and hypnosis started with people just don't do what you want them to do. No. Like, you can tell them once, you can tell them twice, you can tell them 50 times. And I think one of the biggest ethoses I've always had, because when you're like, well, they're not doing it, I've told them so many times. I mean, we may have had this with partners too, right? My consideration is, okay, how can I change or adapt my position? How can I change where I am standing? How can I change what I'm standing for in order to potentially create a change? Does it guarantee stuff? No. But we all learn certain ways of being. Like, some people are a lot more righteous. They're in the rightful position. They're the right person to speak to. Normally good for very systems and processes. Mm-hmm. Some people are very good at, like, I don't know, supporting people, like carrying people. Some people are in a really low place and need to get from A to B, and they need someone to carry them and take there. But people aren't taking steps themselves. So it's really about understanding how you. So here's the invitation for you. You could pick any person in any context, because it varies. Because the way you might lead people normally, or if you're a therapist or coach listening to this, because I know a lot of people are in Claudia's audience, think about your ideal client. Where are they relative to you? Or where's a problematic client? So if you think your problematic client or problematic employee or someone you struggle with, if you were to put them in a direction relative to you, where would they be, Claudia? Where would yours be?
So which one? The one that who I like?
Pick a problematic one. Pick a problematic one.
Let me see. Oh, I suppose so. I actually choose not to work with people at times. If I don't think they're ready for change, or they're going to, I just know it's going to use up loads of my energy, like real energy sap, because they're not ready yet. Then do you know what? They are like way off behind me. Oh yes, and over to the
right. To the right. Okay, cool. Right. So if we look at that, normally there's nothing worse than being a change worker or being a manager, and you want to generally help somebody, but they know that their way is the right way. They're in the right position. They're right about everything. So no matter what advice you give them, they're right. They're very stuck. Now, that can be quite a challenging person to work with, and it can be a good way to filter out people. However, that right position isn't a bad position. For my tax accountant, I want my tax accountant to be right. I want them to know the right things, the right data, get the right information. I want them to be in that sort of right position. So we can look at where we put these people around us and consider what kind of leader we are. A lot of business owners, or like new business owners, especially coaches and therapists, struggle because normally when you're an employee, you're in the background. You're not leading the way. You're not making decisions. You're not like Claudia trailblazing. And what happens is when you go on personal development courses or you take your first certification, like, yay, I'm going to do this. And then you've got to step out into the unknown. You've got to go out there. You've got to get out of your comfort zone, for a better word. And actually, you've got to take the lead. You've got to discover which direction, not just follow somebody.
Yeah.
And it creates this real challenge. So for me, it's really about what skill sets you're learning. I've always been good at pushing people from behind, guiding people. And this is why I coach and mentor a lot of people in corporate businesses and mentor managers who are maybe a little bit unskilled, to guide them in the direction. But I'm encouraging them to take steps. I'm helping them becoming forward-thinking leaders. So it's really about understanding where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, the pros and cons of them, and when is it appropriate. So for me, flexibility is the key. And I know, especially with your bunny talk process, you say, I mean, no demonstration or no intervention is the same, because, you know, you've got to be able to adapt.
Yeah, because you never know what somebody's going to bring. So you have you have to be flexible.
Exactly. Still can't touch my toes, but that's another thing.
Okay, well, this is really interesting, because you're quite right. You know, when with the business that the 7 positions. So the 7, let's go there first of all. Is that it? Is it 7, or is there 8, or is there 6? What is that about? The number.
Okay, so let me go through it, right? So I'll go through the different definitions, and you can get a bit of a flavor which one's you. Okay, so you've got the upfront leader. So imagine that there are people behind you and you're in front, right? So if you're like, where are the people relative to you? Behind you. So you're leading from the front, you're choosing the direction, you're deciding where you're going. You're normally quite proactive, quite forward thinking, okay? Mm-hmm. And you put yourself first. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily a bad thing, but other people are in the background. Now, potential problems, they could stab you in the back. You might leave them behind. You know, you ever had like where you'll go, and people just can't keep up? So there are potential challenges, but that's just stereotypical business person. You've got the background leader who pushes people, guides people, like I just expressed, and how I like to guide people. However, they're not picking their own direction. It could be if they wanted to progress, other people might get in their way, could stop them.
Okay.
You've got the rightful leader, sometimes the righteous leader, who has the right decisions, knows the right things to do, is doing things the right way, normally about system and process. You've got the options leader, who's normally to the left, which is about options, possibilities, what's left to explore, what's left to do. Normally they can delegate things to what's left. And if you think the person who's right and the person that's left, there's alignment. I mean, in my relationship, my wife is normally right. Women aren't always right, but my wife's cool with being right. I like her being right, and I'm happy to be left to one side doing my own thing, you know? So also consider your relationships. When does it work? When does it doesn't? What positions you're in? You've got the aspirational leader. We all look up to people. We all have people we admire, our mentors, the people that we put on a pedestal with. They have really achieved. Now, these people are really great to look up to, but they don't get involved in the day-to-day. You might see someone at a conference. I know me and Claudia do a lot. They're like, wow, they're amazing. But they're not getting involved in your business. They're not helping you with the day-to-day, but they're someone that you can aspire to be. You've got the supportive leader who's underneath, who carries people. Sometimes people need help getting across gaps. And then finally, you've got the inside leader. They don't really have a position, but they're your networker. They're the person who knows the person who knows the person who knows the person. Everybody's seen as equal, and they just meld all together. Now, you're not necessarily just one, right? But you will have strengths in some and preferences for some and weaknesses in others. And by assessing these, each of these different positions works better in a certain context. Yeah. Like if you're presenting on a big stage and you've got 1,000 people in front of you, you want to be that aspirational person. You want to be in that inspiring role. If you're doing a TED talk, you don't want to tell people the right thing to do. You want to be thinking, wow, that's a new possibility. So all of these things can be learned. They're all skills. And it's about how can you start to take the steps to do those things.
Yeah. No, I like it. So, no, I would say I was the first one. Yep. And then a little bit of the left where I'm flexible. And then also I can be the one helping as I'm helping my new trainers move forward. Or I will be, you know, as I continue to go do that.
Which is cool. So if we look at it, Claudia, since you've been doing the bunny talk, you've been leading the way, you've been setting the pace, you've been doing that sort of stuff. You're left exploring other things. Mm-hmm. Right is normally process driven.
I'm not very good at I know. I need help with that, and that's why I'm flexible.
But then this is the thing. For example, if you were to look for a resource person, you could look for someone who knows the right way to do things, and that could be a useful if you didn't want to learn it, you could look to delegate some of those things. But then when you're coaching and mentoring people, for example, with your business, you're leading the way, but with your clients, you're probably guiding them, pushing them from behind, depending on the client. It varies. But we change these things depending on context. So it's okay. Think about what's the situation with somebody that's problematic. You're probably in a position that's not working as well for you. So if you could change that position, if you knew how to change that position, you could probably start to imagine how things could show up differently.
Yeah, and I agree. And Dale, I really liked the way you said what you're helping people with is that, because we all know we're not in control of other people. So you're helping the leader because they're coming to you. How can they change their position to make things work better? Because they're not in control of their team. They're only in control of the way they manage it and handle it. So yeah, absolutely. So I bet it's quite interesting work. How long do your sessions? I mean, do you do it online? Do you do it in person? What do you go to the corporation? What happens?
So I have a variety of different formats. So normally either I do like a 3-hour workshop with leaders and managers, and we do that together. Or for companies who want a little bit more over time to see progress, we do like a little series together. Depending on team size, it varies. But it's really about essentially getting a blueprint, because so many people are just clueless. I remembered when I was learning and developing, and I was in learning and development, and I was teaching people how to do recruitment, because that was my background. And for me, I'm like, how do I get better? What do I need to improve? And my managers, my leaders, they couldn't tell me. They're just like, you're doing a good job. And that was so frustrating for me, because I'm like, I wanted to get better. This is when I fell into the world of NLP and hypnosis and all those other fabulous things, because I wanted to improve, because no one could give me a clear, simple framework. They just keep doing what you're doing. And for me, that wasn't good enough.
No, I agree.
So yeah, I mean, I tailor it. And one of the other big things is, you can see, one of the things about recruitment is they want you to be a leader. They want you to be taking steps. You're in charge of what you're doing, but you need to do what we tell you. So there's an interesting juxtaposition of, we want you to lead the way, but we don't want you to lead the way. We want you to follow our instructions. So there's this interesting conflict that happen in organizations, and it's not like people mean to do these things. This is all unconscious structures operating under the surface.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating how much you can glean from just a few moments of doing these kind of things with your team.
Yeah. So the benefits of somebody introducing this into their, their workforce, and for the, leaders, so whichever the corporation may be, tell me some of the immediate benefits that they can visibly see.
Okay. So their team will see 100% what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and they'll be able to work directly on, okay, the specific areas that I need to work on to be better at my job, to be more successful, to be more aligned in the business. They will have a roadmap of what they need to do in order to start to enhance those skill sets. Because some of these things are things that people need to learn over time, but they'll have that roadmap for them. In addition, we'll see how the whole team and business is aligned together. Because if everyone's going in different directions, I mean, you're going to knock heads. You're not really going to be going in the same place. So it helps to align everybody in a way that we know where we're going. We know what our strengths are. We know how to utilize each other in a way that plays to each other's strengths, and we can help each other move forward together. So it's great for building team dynamics. It's great for connecting people. But ultimately, it's about creating a team that is really happy, successful, and actually making steps forward.
Yeah. So instead of speaking the same language and not really hearing each other, they are actually really speaking the same language and listening, or actively listening.
100%. And one of the things within the training is we'll get you to experiment with all those different positions, so that if you are in a problem situation, you're like, I don't know what to do. Okay, you're a bit stuck. How can you be unstuck? We'll give you tools to do that. So any problem, any challenge you face, you can look at it from a different perspective, which can start the ball of creativity and change, which I also know you're really passionate about.
Yeah, well, I am, because I mean, my work is usually when people have fear, they fear voicing, they fear it because of something. It's like, who would want to listen to what I've got to say? Fear of being unworthy. Like, who would want to know me? Who would want to listen to me? I'm not good enough. What's the point? I always fail. Those sorts of things. So I get to the root of that issue, so that then they can speak up, they can be heard, or they feel deserving of being heard and good enough. So that they can be the best employee, best leader that they can be, instead of going back to that thing of we call it limiting beliefs, but it's that's in our language, but it's just that negative feeling that just leaves people stuck, and then they don't ask questions, they don't ask good questions.
100%.
And I think that must leave a lot of leaders like very frustrated, because it's like, people aren't mind readers. And it's, so it's about people. I think the most important thing for a leader, in my opinion, is to let people feel safe, so that they're trustworthy, so that they do feel it's okay to speak up, and that they won't be put down like they may have been in the past. So I believe it's one of the most fundamental things in leadership is to build trust.
100%. And I think that there's a sort of, I can't remember the specific, but the analogy I heard, or the metaphor I heard, was, let's just imagine, I don't know, you're doing everything well, you think you're having a good day, and someone shouts at you out of nowhere and you've got no idea what's happening. It's like you've got a whole host of multicolored pens where you can be creative, you can do lots of different stuff. And then you have like black and white, and you sort of just get shut down. You're like, you can only do one thing or the other. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the key things about being a leader is, okay, people do some stupid things. They do ridiculous things. But how can you as a leader maintain your composure in a way that allows you to change how you present things? One of the biggest caveats I teach leaders who are like, why did you do this? As soon as you ask someone, why did you do it? Why plus the negative makes people defensive. It's like, it can be passive aggressive. It can be anything. But if you ask, what made you choose to do that, with some curiosity, you start to understand how they're thinking, and you don't get the same resistance.
I absolutely agree. Why is one of those most awful things and a lot of parents do that with their kids. Why did you spill the milk? Why did you do that? Why? And it's like, there is no why sometimes.
But the other thing I think with that is, why can be really good. Like, talk about Simon Sinek, right? He talks about the 5 whys, like, why is your why for life? And in my mind, why plus a positive. So why do you like that? Why does that interest you? That can actually help you motivate people, drive people, and inspire you. But why plus a negative can actually bring up conflict, which can be useful if you need to have a stronger conversation. But it's understanding these micro distinctions that can really make the difference in business.
I love it. The why plus a positive and the why plus a negative. Absolutely brilliant. Let's end on there, Dale. So we're going to get your links in the comments so that people, they can get in touch with you, so that they can add this in as a workshop, because it sounds like a really interesting way to create change for the work dynamic. So I absolutely love that. So thank you, Dale. Thank you for everybody for watching. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's goodbye from Dale Turnbull. So take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.